Yo, what's good? Welcome back to the channel. As usual, I'm going to let this clip play and then I'll talk about it afterwards.
Okay, you got 4 there, you got 7, 9 down there, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Go.
Another day, another city. The players' main responsibility when traveling aboard the airlines is to hand carry their uniforms in case of lost luggage.
Charles.
They traveled to LA with the intent of reclaiming their early season touch in opposing arenas. After big victories against LA and Boston, the coaching staff felt a solid road trip would pump the team for the stretch drive.
So he doesn't get naked on a backdoor situation.
This is a game that we're going to have to go out and have high energy. We have a high energy level. We win tonight, we got tomorrow off, so you can spend all night in Los Angeles doing whatever you want to do tonight, I don't care. Otherwise, we got practice tomorrow afternoon.
In Los Angeles, a city built by flash and tinsel, Clipper fans came out expressly to catch the Bulls. Their support was so overwhelming, it made one think this game was played in Chicago Stadium.
There's a little pressure, mainly because, you know, the people are there to see you score 50 and see their team win.
Fans chowed down to some of Jordan's own home cooking. He padded his league-leading scoring average and pushed the Bulls 12 games over the 500 mark.
There's something about the human touch. I think it's important to talk to people as adults, to talk to them the way you'd like to be talked to, but also to reach out and touch a guy. And I think men need that little touch, and they'll give everything they have when they know that you appreciate it.
Just uniforms, keep the warm up.
Getting an infrequent day off, especially on the road, Michael Jordan didn't hesitate to practice at his hobby.
Doug gave us the day off, and I checked the weather report, and it was supposed to be 65 here in Portland, so this worked out perfectly for me.
As on the basketball floor, Jordan shows pure form with each stroke.
This is fun. I mean, I've never had the opportunity to do this in my whole career playing in Chicago, and hopefully I can get more opportunities like this in the future. No, that's short.
It's important for Michael and I to always have an understanding. I understand the pressure on him. I understand his space. I understand all the things he goes through. Michael Jordan is a phenomenon. I don't know how he does it. I really don't.
Against Portland, the Bulls geared up for an old-fashioned shootout. They knew they would have to keep pace with a team which makes its living on the run. But as past weeks had shown, Chicago had a superb fast break of its own. Portland also had trouble slowing down Jordan, even with 3 men helping out as the Bulls rolled on to their second straight road win. This 15-point win was a successful tune-up before a meaningful showdown.
All right, now listen up, guys. Let's make sure, above all, we get some rest. Detroit were 1-4 against those and it's on national TV, and I want to beat those guys on Sunday. So let's get ready to go. Come on, let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Silver Dome in Pontiac, Michigan, home of the arch-rival Pistons. Chicago was climbing up the Central Division ladder and looked to close the gap against Detroit. Up to the challenge was the March Player of the Month, whose 59 points set a league high for the year. A third-quarter basket by Joe Dumars put Detroit up by 7. That prompted Michael to go for the juggler and slam it down the Pistons' throats. His jumper put the Bulls on top with less than a minute to play. Now they had to play the clock. Isaiah Thomas found an opening, but Jordan evaporated his opportunity. A foul shot put Chicago up by 2 and left Detroit a chance to go for a tie or win it all. Thomas inside, fires away.
It's over, and the Chicago Bulls...
The Bulls again showed the intensity to play a full 48 minutes, a noteworthy feat for the end of a long road trip. This game greatly impressed Doug Collins as his team displayed great maturity since the season's start.
Okay, you got 4 there, you got 7, 9 down there, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Go.
Another day, another city. The player's main responsibility when traveling aboard...
All right, so I wanted to point out one thing really quick, and that's that they were flying commercial. This is 1988. They were still flying commercial.
They traveled to LA.
And they obviously didn't have all of the modern recovery tools that players today have. They're flying commercial, and yet they managed to play 82 games back then. I wonder why is that? Just wanted to point that out really quick.
Michael Jordan didn't hesitate to practice.
All right, so I also wanted to comment on this. To me, it makes sense that Michael Jordan would be addicted to golf, seeing that he's a competition addict. You know, because with golf, you're really out there competing against the course itself, not really, you know, whoever you're out there golfing with. And the course, it doesn't have a day off. It doesn't have an off day. You know, it always shows up. It's always full strength. And then the holes, for the most part, are where they are. So the only variable is you. So Mike goes out there. He's got this ultimate competitor that's always going to show up, always be full strength. It's not a team game, so it's all on him, and it's about how well can you do against the course. And you go out there time and time again, over and over and over against this course to see how much better you can do, So it makes sense to me that if Mike, you know, if he picked up a golf club and was, you know, reasonably decent with it, that he would definitely get addicted to it, because that's a competitor that he could always face and, you know, would always be ready for him. And then, of course, back then, you know, late 80s, this is before, you know, cell phones, you know, were really, you know, like they were later. So he could also get away, you know, from his fame even for just a moment. You know, he can't really take a phone call back then on the golf course. So I could see how it'd also be relaxing for him, and how, you know, it's another thing why he would fall in love with the game and get addicted to it the way he has. So I wanted to talk about these highlights here. Not anything specific, even though that dunk Mike had when he went to the middle of the lane, that was a nice dunk. I posted a still image of that in the community section, I think a few weeks ago or last week. That got a pretty good response. And a lot of you recognized that the dunk was from highlights from this game. And I want to talk about this because this is one of those games where we have like a couple highlights from, but that's it. It otherwise does not exist outside of the NBA vault. And I know for a lot of us who go back and we're trying to track down these highlights, it's really frustrating where, you know, you get 1-2 highlights from a game and you're like, oh, what game is that from? And you're scouring YouTube, you're scouring the internet looking for that game, and you just can't find it because it's not there. No one has it. You know, it's just in the NBA vault. So we know that this Last Dance documentary is coming up. We'll see. I think they said originally it was supposed to have 10 hours of never before seen footage. We'll see how much of that is game footage, how much of that is like behind the scenes footage. But man, what I would pay to be able to get access to a lot of these games that I know they have in the vault. I would definitely, I mean, it's crossed my mind to like email the NBA Entertainment Studios or whoever and be like, yo, I'm looking for such and such a game. I know obviously it's the NBA Studios, they have everything. They started recording games, like every game, after Wilt scored 100 in 1962, and there's no footage of it because the games weren't being recorded at the time. So it was sometime after that they started recording every game just in case, because you never know what's going to happen. So I know they have footage of this game somewhere, most likely just in their vault. And if any like regular person that recorded it on their television, they haven't made it available to the internet if someone out there has it. So as of now, it's like nowhere on the internet. But man, what I wouldn't do to get access to those NBA vaults, man. And of course, you know, I'll come share it with you guys. I'd edit all those games up and have them right on the channel.
15-point win was a successful tune-up before a meaningful showdown.
All right, now listen up, guys. Let's make sure
above all, we get some rest. Detroit, we're 1-4 against those, and it's on national TV, and I want to beat those guys on Sunday.
Just a quick note, you see the language Doug Collins was using right there in regards to the Pistons. And this is back then. This is back when, like, the teams in your division, you would play them 6 times a year. So you can see he said they were 1-4. So they played them 5 times already, and they're about to play them again for like the 6th time in a season. So you can see how between that and the playoffs, how those rivalries were just so fierce. They were really blood feuds. So they had Detroit in their division, Cleveland in the division. So you play them like over and over and over and over again. So clearly you can tell Doug Collins wanted to win this game. And he wasn't, the Detroit Pistons weren't his favorite team, we'll say that. All right, and this is a game, they've re-aired this game a lot on ESPN Classic back in the day. I know this game's all over YouTube, so I know most of you've seen the highlights of this game, you've rewatched this game. It's a great watch, like so many of the games from that season. Even though Mike only had 1 dunk, I think he only had 1 dunk, and it came like midway to the 3rd quarter or something. So it was a while before he got a dunk. But it's a good game to watch. But this is pretty much going to be it for this one. I just want to drop those few little comments there. Go ahead and hit a thumbs up if you like the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And take care. Peace.
Worthy feat for the end of a long road trip. This game greatly impressed Doug Collins as his team displayed great maturity since the season's start.
He no longer needs accomplishments to prove his case as the greatest player in NBA history. He just adds to it. And if this is the final chapter, what a way to close the book.